Hey everybody, what's going on? It's James here with Crypto Common Sense. Wanted to shoot your market update for today, October 29th. Of course, we had our daily close about 2.5 hours ago, so let's talk about Bitcoin. Before I jump into today's video, please do me a huge favor. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up button on this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So first things first, what I want to talk about is what Bitcoin is doing, what direction I think it's headed, and also just really about, in general, how to catch the tops and the bottoms of these moves. So I'm going to do some trading lessons again today. I hope you guys enjoy that stuff, and you'll benefit a whole lot more from that than just me telling you what I think is happening in the market. So what I'm looking at right now is this is a daily chart, and this great big triangle that we're looking at is actually our descending triangle that started to come back into play after we tucked back underneath it here. What I want to point out, okay, let's forget about RSI for just a minute. What I want to point out about this triangle is a lot of people, when they begin trading, they're looking to short right at the triangle itself, and then they end up getting stopped out. And this happens to me quite a bit as well over the last 3 or 4 months, because I'm not a swing trader, guys. I've talked about that sporadically throughout the videos. I'm really not a swing trader, right? I'm a position trader where I'll sell an entire position or pieces of a position and then buy it back later. There's no stop losses on that type of stuff. And I'm also a day trader where I'm getting in and out on these scalps for like 1, 2, 3% on a good day. But swing trading is so much more about timing, and my timing has been pretty awful the last couple of months, really. I've called just about every one of these moves pretty accurately, but it's hard to time the move. So I've really been doing a lot of soul searching or studying, if you will, trying to figure out what did I go wrong with some of this stuff. I don't regret missing this top two. I called this one perfect, but unfortunately, I wasn't aware back right here. I did not know that I could short the market on Kraken. I didn't normally trade on Kraken. I normally traded on Coinbase Pro or Binance, and neither one of those offered margin trading. So while I did a post on TradingView, while I called this top perfect, I said 13.1K would be the top here. And by the way, that was when it was over here that I called that. And got to 13.2. So if I went short there, I would have made enough money to probably live on for a year. Unfortunately, I didn't. But then when we got in this area, I went short at 11.9K because I tried to short the top of the triangle, and I got stopped out on this wick. And then I went short again at 12.1K. But here's the real kicker: I had a 1% stop loss on that short position, so I was short at like 12.150. And when it went up to 12.3, it stopped me out. At the very tip top of this wick, it stopped me out, and then it dropped, right? And then it bounced up, and I never did get back in. I didn't get back in until it was over in this area. So the real negative is, if you're trying to play the tops of these triangles, a lot of times you get stopped out. And they basically call these stop hunts, right? It's where, we don't know who, but somebody out there is looking to hit your stop losses so that you're not able to ride these big moves up or down. Okay, you get the same thing at the bottoms. You'll get these long tails that are actually stop hunts trying to get you stopped out before the price moves up. So sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll catch one like this where it's just a perfect touch and then it goes down. But more times than not, you'll get a stop hunt that goes above the line and it'll stop you out. So what I want to show you is, like right now, there's a lot of people who are really bullish, and maybe they're right. I don't have a crystal ball. They could be right. Maybe this thing is going to go up, but I don't think so. I'm going to tell you why right now. If you look back here, price popped above this line, it came back below it, right? So a lot of people would start chasing right here, and boom, it would go right back up and stop them out. And then it came back below it, right? This chop. You wouldn't want to be trading on a swing trade in this area through here, okay? Unless you got into the tip top over here. But if you look, there was a really obvious entry here. Once it broke south of this descending line here, and it came up and tried to retest it right here, it failed, right? That's basically a retest of that line is where you want to enter, whether it's going long or short. If something comes up above a line and then bounces off and starts going up, that's an opportunity to go long, if it's supported by other factors. And if something breaks below a line and touches it, it's an opportunity to go short. And if you look, this candle right here, this is a daily candle. It topped out at 11,585. This daily candle came up to 11,555. So basically, your entry would have been right around 11,555, 11,500, something like that, right? And then what you could have done in a case like that, the stop losses, the stop hunts had already been played out, right? The stop hunts had been going on for 4 or 5 days. So if you had entered a position right here on the close of this daily candle, you could have said, you know what, I'm going to put my stop loss right at the top of this candle over here. Well, I've got the damn magnet on again. I hate those magnets. They're good for getting it started, but then they mess everything up. So you can put your stop loss like right up here above the wick of this candle, right around 12 grand. And that would have been about a 4% stop loss. And then if you thought this thing was going back down to say 9 grand, look at this. You would have had a roughly 18 to 19% profit target and 4.76 risk reward. And yes, it would have got hit. Look at this. Down, down, boom, right there. It would have got hit. Okay. Or you could have took profits over here on this tail. When it started coming back up, maybe you would have said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and get out there for a 13% gain. Okay. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because if I want you to pay special attention to this. So we came above it, stopped out the shorts, dropped below it, came up for a retest, and then we dumped. Okay. Look what's happening right now. We came up above it right here, came back below it, people went short again, came up above it, stopped the shorts out, closed underneath it, came up for a retest, and now look what's happening. Are you seeing it? It's the exact same thing that happened last time, guys. Right? Up above it, stop the shorts out, dump below it, get people to go short, liquidate the shorts, back above it, back below it, liquidate the shorts, boom, with a retest, and then dump. Right? Same thing. Now we've retested it, and we're starting to move down. Am I going to just automatically go short because of that? No, I still got to find a setup, right? I still got to find a proper entry. But right now, to me, this looks like it's probably a really good opportunity to short that thing somewhere around. I'm hoping it maybe bounces at some point in the next 18 to 20 hours. And if I can get in right around that top of that triangle there for like say 9,400 ish, then I can set my stop loss up above this wick over here. And that's going to be about a 5, well, about a 6, we'll just call it 6%, right? 6% stop loss. And guys, if I'm right, and I don't know that I am, but if I'm right and this thing starts to head back down, I think minimum it's going to go down and fill in the gap around 8,800-ish. I think it's 87.19 or something. So if you look at that, that would be about a 1-to-1. The risk reward's not there for that trade. But reality is, I don't think that's what's happening. Not only do I think it's going to go to the bottom of this triangle when it's all said and done, I think we're going lower. I think we're going to go down to at least $6,400. And if this thing breaks, I really think we're going to go down, closer to 4,000 and maybe even lower. So if we do it like that, that's about a 32% profit target and about a 6% stop loss. So it's a 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio if I can find a setup to get into that trade. Okay. Now, again, with a 6% stop loss, I'm not going to take a massive position. It's not like I'm going to put in my entire trade fund because I don't want to lose 6% of my entire trade fund on a single trade. Maximum on something like that, I might do maybe 10% of my trade fund. Because, again, I think this is a bear market. I think this was all one manipulated pump to basically let whales unload their bags. And Wyckoff logic basically says in distribution, after you get your first major dump out of your trading range, that you always come back up, nothing's guaranteed, but that you should come back up and retest support flipped resistance, which is exactly what we did. Even though we had this couple of wicks that went up to like 10.5, 9,900, etc., really, if you look, the highest close we had was sitting right around 95.48. And if you guys remember for last month, I kept saying we need to come up and test 9,500. We need to go test 9,500. We're going to go up and test 91 to 9,500, 91 to 9,500. That's what Wyckoff logic was predicting, and it's exactly what we did. Okay, it's just that it had this monster wick, which was a stop hunt that stopped out a lot of people, myself included. So yeah, I don't think this was a bull market kicking off. And again, if you guys remember in my last video or the video before, I said if it does come down to 8,500, it does find support and moves back up, then I'll change my stance. I'll turn into a bull at that point. But I'm certainly not going to be a bull until we put in some bullish structure, okay? And again, if you guys don't know what bullish structure is, in short, this is basically a straight line up. That's not what we want, right? If we had moved to 10 grand, but we had moved like this, like up, down, up, down, up. If we'd done this, I would have said, hell, that was the bottom right here, guys. We're going up, right? But that's not what we did. This was like a really impulsive, mimicky, gimmicky type of pump, and it just looks like a pump and dump, okay? And I think when it's all said and done, it's going to end up being a giant BART. It's going to end up being, maybe not above the line like that, but I do think it's going to end up being something squirrely like this, right, where it just comes right back down. So I'm going to keep playing it as a bear until we break north of that. I don't want to regurgitate a bunch of content, but again, we're still underneath the weekly RSI. We're in the bear market on RSI here. We failed to break above the 21 MA. On the 3-day, we're still inside the bear market RSI on the 3-day as well. So it all looks very bad. And on this daily, if I turn RSI back on, we have this massive hidden bearish divergence that started back in August. It capped off right here on October 27th. We've got price making lower highs, RSI making higher highs. That's a really bad sign for the bulls as well. So I'm still going to play this short. All right. I also went short on OMG, which was a pretty obvious play, guys. Again, divergences, I posted about this on Twitter, divergences make me more money than any other thing in trading. And if you look, there was this massive divergence. Look at this thing. This thing came all the way up to $1.10, right? So higher highs, RSI making lower highs, and once it got up there and closed, it's now down about 7%. EOS, I went short on EOS. Unfortunately, I got a jump the gun on this one. I haven't been stopped out, but I actually went short right over in this area, and then it pumped on me. So you can see right here, I could have closed it for about a 2% gain if I wanted to, but I was actually sleeping. Had I been awake, full disclosure, I would have closed this trade right here. I wouldn't have stayed in this trade, okay? But as it is, I just got to wait and see what happens with this thing. My stop loss is way up here, about 7.5%. So I'm feeling pretty safe about it, and my target is down around $2.80. So if I'm right, I make about 16% on that trade. But Litecoin, I want to talk about Litecoin a little bit today as well. I haven't talked about Litecoin a whole lot. So here's the deal with Litecoin, guys. I saw something really interesting, and I wanted to point this out because I don't think a lot of people pay attention to this stuff. So if you guys don't use trend lines with your RSI, you'll find that it can be really helpful in your trading. This right here, this low in RSI happened in November of 2018, so basically about 11 months ago. But if you look, if we can draw a ray here, look at how well respected this line is, right? Came down in July, bounced off of it. Now we wouldn't have had a line, right? We would not have had a line yet, but once that bounced up, we could have connected those 2 points and we would have had a trend line, right? Came down, boom, look at this. In August, bounced off of it again. And at the same time, if you wanted to go long on Litecoin, if you were watching this, right, there was actually a bullish divergence. Remember what I was saying about divergences? Price was making a lower low, while RSI was making a higher low. It was sitting on top of monthly support at $62.05. This was a very, very easy long to take. Boom, and it went up from $62 all the way up to $80, so about an $18 trade. I remember specifically talking about that in a video and then not taking it because I was scared Bitcoin was going to dump and ruin the party. And that's one of the things that as I looked back on my trading journal for the last 4 or 5 months, I realized that I cost myself probably 6 figures because I kept, I kept hesitating on long positions because I was afraid Bitcoin was going to ruin the party at any moment. And the reality is I should have took those long positions and then just used a stop loss and let happen whatever was going to happen. But that would have been a very easy trade to take. Boom, bullish divergence, sitting on top of a trend line, sitting on top of monthly support, and well, I think that was it, right? Bullish divergence, trend line, monthly support. Okay, boom. And that was a huge trade. From 62 up to $80 was about, if we measure the move, I'm trying to measure the move. It's not letting me draw a price thing for some reason. If we measure the move, it was somewhere around 28%. Next thing you know, it came down and touched it again on September 24th right here. Again, we still had bullish divergence. This time a long running divergence, right? This thing had been running from way back here. Boom, boom, boom. Two lower lows, 2 higher lows. Again, if you would have went long right there, you would have got, it would have been about a $51 entry. It pumped up to about $60. Could have got about 18% if you sold at resistance. Next thing you know, this damn thing came down. Boom. Hit monthly support at $48. Put in a higher low, right? Didn't bounce to our trend line this time, but it did put in a higher low. So again, we had bullish divergence again, right? Price making lower low. RSI making higher low. Boom, if you went long at $48, which I did, but I sold at 49 because it was a day trade, and then you sold at the top here at 64, you got about 33%. But if you had just sold at resistance at $62 or whatever, you made right around 25%. So imagine that, right? Imagine like not getting caught up in all the noise and just trading that simple trend line and that simple divergence with supports. Boom, huge, huge money. Now what we can do is we can draw a trend line from the top back here in April, and we can start drawing it over here. And if we connect this, boom, boom. Right now we're trying to peak above it, so that's interesting. But We'll see where today closes at, right? I got a feeling that it's going to come right back down in it. If Bitcoin dumps, this will dump with it, most likely. And my red line got moved accidentally there. But I think we are inside of a falling wedge with Litecoin. So what I'm kind of expecting, or what I suspect might end up being the case, this thing might start falling like this. And eventually, I'm looking for $33 is ideal, right? That would fill in this gap over here. And if we can do that, if RSI can come down and tag this line, and this comes down, maybe even wicks down through this, right? And then we start to bounce and we can get a breakout. I would probably be looking to go long down around this $33 area, depending on, I'd be looking at 4-hour chart for confirmation, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, if this starts to move up off this line and this moves up, I probably wouldn't day trade that. I'd probably just take that and turn that into a long-term position trade, right? Again, that's not a swing trade. That's not a day trade. A position trade is where you think you've caught the bottom, right? Or close enough to the bottom that you're okay holding it for a while. And I would probably try to ride that up as high as I could, okay, until it was time to take profits again. And same thing on a short. A short position trade is where you're not swing trading, you're not moving in and out on a daily basis. For example, if you caught the top back here, which is what I didn't catch the exact top, but I exited Litecoin for an average of like right around, I think it was 127 or 123. I don't remember now. I'd have to look at the sheet. But basically, I never bought it back. I've just been riding it down this entire time. So at one point, I was up about 62%. If I close it right now, I'm up about 52%. Okay. Which it doesn't sound like a lot, but I did a video about this a while back. I mean, it does sound like a lot, but it's even more than that when you think about it. I did a video about this a while back. So for every one Litecoin that I sold, I'm actually able to buy back 2 Litecoin. So if my point as a trader is to increase the amount of crypto I have, this is basically a 100% trade, right? I can double my crypto. But yeah, I mean, one thing about, again, I talked about emotions in the last video. Guys, emotions will mess you up, right? These were obvious trades. Like right here, I should have caught this dead cat bounce. I didn't want to fight the trend. Right here, I should have caught this dead cat bounce. I didn't want to fight the trend. Right here, I should have caught the bounce. Didn't want to fight the trend, so on and so forth. But each one of those bounces were between like 10, 20, and 30% bounces. Those are the types of trades that can make enough money. And, literally 3 trades could have made me enough money to pay all of my bills for the entire year, right? But instead, I didn't want to take them because I thought, well, if Bitcoin crashes at any moment, Litecoin is going to crash with it. That's just typically the way it works. If you see Bitcoin crash, Litecoin goes down with it. But yeah, that's what I'm watching on Litecoin right now. On OMG, I've actually exited that short position. I don't know what OMG is going to do. I don't have a good handle on it. I just wanted to take a scalp. It was like a 4-hour type of trade, swing trade type of deal. So I'm out of that position for a small win. And on Bitcoin, I'm not in any positions. I don't have any short positions open. Like I said, I'm waiting. I'm really hoping that I can get some type of good entry. And to do that, I need to look at the 4-hour chart, right? I need to look at, this is an hourly chart. And you can see we're in this triangle here, this smaller triangle. And basically, I was sleeping when this happened, right? So I didn't get up today until a little after 7 o'clock, unfortunately. This would have been a good entry back here, right? This was the 5 o'clock candle. It came up, it tagged it, made a high of 94.6750. This was the 6 o'clock candle. This is my time, by the way, 6 o'clock Central Time, United States. Came up 94.67. So you basically had tweezer tops right there, also touching resistance. That would have been where I should have been going short, but I was sleeping, okay? Because again, if I went short there, as soon as it came up and made that double top like that, then I could have went short, put my stop loss up above this wick over here, so up around 10 grand, would have given me about a 5.6% stop loss, right? And then I could do something like this, and I'd have about a 3.671. And I could be a little more conservative, guys. I could just put my stop loss right above the triangle, right? I could just say, you know what, I'm going to enter right here at the top of the triangle, and if it gets up to, let's just say, 1.5%, $9,600, that might be a breakout that sent it flying north. I'll get out. And then if you look at it, it's a 14-to-1 risk-reward ratio, right? At most, going to lose 1.5%, and at best, make somewhere around 20%. So I missed that entry, and I probably won't get another chance to enter it. But, I might get lucky and this thing might bounce off of here again and then come down. And if it does, then I'll try to get in. But wouldn't this be something? This thing dumped out of the bottom of this triangle right during this video. Let's look at the 5-minute chart. That's looking pretty unhealthy. Seeing if you zoom into a 5-minute, the trade becomes even more obvious, right? You see it fail over here several times. Like over here, it's just, right? Just can't get above it. And then right here would have been a good entry, right around 94.46. And even if you didn't want to take that on a swing trade or a position trade, right? Boom, look at this. That dropped 1.86%. So even if you closed it on the close of that candle, 1% trade, day trade, bam, right? That would have been about a, an hour, 2 hours max. Would have been a nice little trade. But again, I hadn't been getting enough sleep lately. I finally laid down today about noon. And when I woke up, it was like 7:15. So daily close in my time is 7 o'clock. So this video is getting a little bit long, but hopefully you guys learned a lot. Hopefully you will start looking for those divergences. They will be your best friend in trading, I promise, if you stick to them. And other than that, just be careful how you trade this thing. I know a lot of bulls are very enthusiastic, and again, I want to be very clear. They could be right. It could be me that's going to be crying in my overspilt milk here fairly soon if this thing breaks north. But right now, I just have to go by what the charts are saying, and the charts don't support a bullish stance, guys. They just don't. So, as always, please remember, I am literally some guy sitting in a spare bedroom. Nothing in this video is financial advice or trade advice. You should always do your own due diligence and seek out professional investment advice before making any type of investment. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't already, make sure to check the description where you can find links to follow me on Twitter, TradingView, and also where you can join my absolutely free Facebook group. This is James with Crypto Common Sense. Trade safe.